my friends. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I am here with my first knit along for 2021. And as I shared with you in my preview episode and what I was dreaming of, I said this was going to be a year of the main projects will be sweaters. The year 2021, I'm going to really try to dive deeper into sweaters. Not so much the sweater itself I will keep them simple, but dive more into different ways to present them or to find stitches and show you how to, to incorporate, just simple things, because that's what I do best. I do simple. So I want to go ahead tonight to just let you see what I'm working on and go over and make sure that you are, I pretty much use the same supplies, but make sure if someone's new, and I may take just a little review again on how to kind of find your size, because we always have new people joining us. So, but first of all, let's just go ahead and take a look at what I have here on my display. As you can see, and from the calendar, this year I went again with Stephanie Ryan. Stephanie Ryan's calendar, Gratitude for 2021. She just makes such pretty, kind of abstract, but she always finds pretty and heart-lifting words. And that's what I like. I like to be able to just share a few heart-lifting words. And so this year on my wall, to cover my holes, sooner or later I'm going to get those holes patched. But I have holes in my walls from over the years I've hung stuff. So I started putting up a calendar. And lo and behold, I decided, you know what? These calendars are so pretty. Perhaps you might like one too. So I wanted to let you know whose calendar that I'm using. I'm not sponsored or anything. I buy my calendars usually from Hobby Lobby or somewhere. You can get Barnes & Noble, of course, Amazon. But Stephanie Ryan, and I will always post her link so that you too can go over and shop at her site. She has other things too, all kind of notepads and little note things for planners for people that like stuff like that. I'm just using the calendar to kind of help set the tone for each month. I kind of look at the color she's used for that particular month, and then I try to design something to incorporate the color. And, of course, I bring my own design to whatever I'm making. So we are here with, like I said, the first sweater. This is sweater number 1. It's a knit along, as you can see, because I just don't have it ready. So I need to just bring it to you in small increments, a knit along. And then, of course, I will be adding other things. I have other little smaller or shorter, easier little tutorials that I will stick in between while we're working on each sweater. I shared with you the fabrics that I was using to help me design sweaters. And so, sweaters take a good while, so I don't know how many we will accomplish or how many we will finish by the end of the year, but I did lay out the fabric so you can see I can pick at random whatever that will kind of flow with the calendar and the month, and go from there and design, and then share it with my friends here on the YouTube. So on this, all right, so as you can see, here's the bottom of the sweater that I have worked up, and voila, I have a beautiful diamond lace motif. I don't know which side, maybe this side might be better, I don't know. But as you can see, I've already started because I will have to be knitting ahead so that, I can be ahead, so I can get you started and then I can be ahead. Let's see what else I want. Oh, and then the book we're using, I've already reviewed the book. This is Wendy Bernard. This is one of her books. This is a book. It says The Knitting All-Around Stitch Dictionary by Wendy Bernard. And it says it has 150 new stitches and patterns. And so, like I said, I have reviewed the book, and I can link that down below so that you can take a good look at it. But, you know, I tell you about these books because this is how I taught myself. I am a visual learner. If you are a visual learner, then I think this is going to be for you. My thing is, I can show you quicker than I can tell you. And that's exactly how I taught myself, by just learning from stitch books and learning how to use stitch books and making making all of my projects. So this is the particular book, and I wrote down here, I just call this book number 1. There are 3 books in the review, in the book review, but I'm calling this book number 1. And like I said, it's just filled with plenty, just outstanding information and all kind of ideas and pretty stitches. And I think she used to teach. I'm sure she's probably taught on Craftsy or some of the other big name things, you know. I don't know. I've never taken a lesson, but I didn't even know I had the books. I just forgot they were just tucked away. And lo and behold, I had all this information in these treasures and didn't even know it. So if you have this book or you think you might like to try it, you know, but let's give it a try first in the first project. And then, of course, like I said, I got mine off Amazon. And some from Joann's. Sometimes I don't know if they're still in the store, but I'm sure you can get them off Amazon. All right. Now, is that a help to you? So now, along with the sweater, I want to bring in I'm always wanting to help, I don't know, enlarge my territory in knitting. My motto, if you get into knitting, knitting will get into you, because knitting is nothing but practice, practice, practice. But I'm always looking to learn more and to stretch my faith and to, you know, and then of course I turn around and share it with my friends. Like I said, I keep my projects simple just for that reason, because a lot of people that follow me are seniors like me, and a lot of us have health issues and not really having to, you know, maybe all the time to work on something too large. But I think for those that can, this will be an easy, nice, fun knit. The yarns that I use are just simple store-bought, big box store yarns, but you are welcome to use any yarn. And when I go over the size chart again, when I go over the sizing, I'm going to show you the method that I use to come up with the numbers that fit my body, and I show you how to get numbers to fit your body. It will work with any yarn and the appropriate needle that you use. So you don't have to use, if you're not into number 4 weight yarn. I use number 4 weight because I'm a fluffy. I'm now fluffy and fluffier than I was. You know, it just take too long in a size number 3 yarns to knit a sweater for me. So I just got comfortable and used to knitting it with number 4 weight yarns. And that's what I share. But I'll go do a short review on how to get your simple numbers and go from there. It will work if you work it on any yarn, number 4, number 3, whatever, and the appropriate needle for the yarn. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm just trying to think of things I want to tell you to kind of get you excited. The next thing I want to tell you about that we're going to start working more of this year, and I think it's going to be fun. I think you're going to like it, because I'm going to take you step by step. I'm going to keep them simple. I'm not going to overdo it. Like I said, I'm not a high-end knitter or a professional knitter, but I am seasoned, and I know what I know. And I have a whole catalog of 7 years here on YouTube to show that I at least know a little something. But look, I'm always looking to learn more and to grow by faith and do more. So this year, we are going to be, let's see now if I can get this on chart. on the camera, we are going to be working some projects from charts. Now, if you don't know how to read a knit chart, this is for you, because I'm going to take you step by step how to translate all these little symbols, and you're going to be so surprised how much fun. It's like reading a mystery novel. You got clues, and you have symbols, and you have to watch, and it's just a lot of fun. I am telling you, there's nothing to be afraid about. I will not be choosing, like I said, since I'm not a professional or real high-end knitter. There's some charts that even I can't. I have to pass over. Like, okay. So that's why a lot of times I like the written word in knitting, where it's written out row by row. But in crocheting, I definitely love charts because I can instantly see what the design is. And for instance, when you look at this, what do you see? You see a design. You see like a diamond stitch. Well, in the words, all you see are words. So that's why so many knitters love to work from charts, because it shows you actually what you are knitting. We are knitting, or will be knitting, this diamond. But if I just share with you the words like I normally do across the bottom of the screen, you're just taking my word until eventually the diamond, once we knit enough rows, will appear. But now look, this matches what's on the chart. Does that make sense? That's why it's a lot of fun. But I will be doing adding my information sheet as usual, and I will have the printed row by row, as I always do, on that sheet, so that you can look at that for those who just like, okay, Jay, I'm not sure about that. But when I use the charts, I'm not going to put it on the bottom, because that's going to force us to be able to work this chart. Now, I just got to figure out how to get it in front of the camera. My son's was trying to teach me how to scan, but I didn't like that at all. So I'm just going to figure out something, how to have the chart so I can work row 1, row 2. We'll just think of something. So does that make sense? Is that something you think you might enjoy or would like me? Just improve your knitting skills for those who are seasoned like me. You just want to, yeah, Jay, I've been wanting to, I see those charts and I didn't know how to use them. Well, stay tuned, because that's what we're going to do on this particular one. We won't do it on every one. I'll just bring them in every once in a while, just so that I, along with you, can start to grow. This year is a year of growing and enlarging our territory. And I don't know, it's just something about learning that's exciting. So that's what 2021 is. This is the year that we're going to work on sweaters. We're going to learn about charts. And I probably have a few other surprises. I don't like to always give everything away, because sometimes it doesn't work out, and I don't want you to be disappointed. So now, let me clear this up, and let me just make sure that I have show you the supplies, the needles and things again. And then I will do a quick little review for those who are new, who just needs to understand my system of how to come up with to help you with your size. All right, I will be back just a minute. All right, so now let's go over some of the needles that you will need. So I've laid out the sweater here so that I can so that you can actually see where we're going to use which needles. As you can see, well, first of all, I'm working bottom up. Hadn't worked bottom up in a good while. So, we'll switch back and forth from top down to bottom up. Just what it depends on the stitch and what stitch I'm trying to use. All right, so as you can see, this is my size. This is the one. I'll go over some numbers with you in just a minute. But I have it on one long needle. So I have 2 fronts and one back, all on one needle. So for that, to get started, I'm using number 9s. Like I said, just a minute I will share with you, you know, go over other needles or whatever, or other yarns. But so for my number 9, if you are one of the fluffier sizes, I'm going to be doing the like 1X size, you know, like large or really 1X size. If you're 1X or 2X or 3X, any of the X sizes, you're going to need a 9, at least a 48. You can work with a 36, but it's so many stitches. But if you have a 948, or does it come 50? I don't know. Does it come 950? I don't know. But you're going to need a nice long needle for all these stitches to get started. And then this will take you up to the armholes or the arm space. So see, I'm up to my arm space right now here. That's why I've stopped, so that I can get you started, and then we can join together, come back and be together in the same place. Does that make sense? So that's my 948. That's what I have on there now. If smaller sizes, a 936. Let's see, here's my 936. If you're in the small, medium, and large size, a 936 will probably be just fine. You just want a needle with a cord or with a cable long enough to hold your stitches. Does that make sense? Of course, I'm using clover, but you can use whatever you like. Alright. Then once we get up to the arm space and we have to separate, so then we'll have to separate. So we'll have a left front and then a right front and then the back. Well, the back is going to stay on the double pointed. It's going to stay on this needle that it's on now. So you already have that one. But for each front, remember, all the needles need to be the same size. We don't go down. All right, we'll have 2 924s. Remember, that was a size that with knitting other sweaters, so I try to use the same supplies so that you don't just waste, you know. But here's a 924. Well, I'm going to need one for the left front when we separate. Once we get to the arm space and we separate and have 3 pieces of the sweater, then I'm going to need one for the right front. Does that make sense? This needle will stay in the back, but I need to separate. Or if you don't have these, but you do have some old ones, whether they're metal or whatever, but if you have some number 9s and they're straight needles like this, okay, you can easily put, you need a set for the front, for one left front, and you need a set for the right front. So either way, the back stays on this original needle, but you'll need 2 separate needles for each front. Does that make sense? Okay, so now that we're in that, once we get all the way up to the shoulders and we do the 3 needle bind off and do anything and decide on if we want to make the sleeves longer, more than just short sleeves, you're going to need your 9/16. We've used that before. If you work sweaters with me, remember I said always have more, because you don't want to have to stop and wait till you empty out one needle. See? So I'd have one for this sleeve and one for that sleeve, because that's how we've done it before. So now let's see if that's it. So that's it. So those are the needles, and that's how we're going to use the needles once I get you up to the point of the sweater where we need to separate all the fronts. All this is in one piece, bottom up, but eventually when we get to the arm space or the sleeve, we have to separate the fronts from the back. Does that make sense? All right, let's see if there was anything else before I go to sizing. Like I said, I'm just using some Vanna. This is one of my favorite sweater yarns. I never have a problem with it. It always knits up beautiful. But you can use, if you use a number 4, just pick a good number 4, one that you know that you've used before. Karen Simply Soft. Now it runs a little smaller than this band. It won't be as puffy or fluffy, whatever you want to say. It won't have as much fluff, but it's still a yarn that I use, and I can use it on my number 9 or I can use it on my number 8. If if you're a smaller size and you decide to knit this sweater in a number 8, then once we get over here, when I get to the next section talking about sizes, then you can you can definitely use a number 8. Maybe you don't like number 9s. All right, so, and this yarn is so old, I bought it on clearance for $1.97. So see, we don't spend a lot on this yarn since we buy it from the big stores. So all I can tell you is if you're a big size, you need at least 5 or 6 skeins of this. I usually get 2 skeins for my back, 1 skein for each front, and then a skein for each sleeve. And that should leave me with extra yarn in case I want to do a collar or something else. But so that's 2, 4, that's at least 6 skeins for my size, and I'm in the middle. So I'll be doing like the 1X size, or what would kind of amount to like a 1X. I can wear 1X in the stores. I would wear a 2X if I bought a little one of my little shell tops. I always have to buy a 2X. But when you hand knit, it stretches, so you can go down a little bit in the size. So that's why I call it 1X when I'm knitting. All right, that's that. I can't think of anything else to go with this part. Let me clear this up, and then we'll get to the last little section. I'll review really quick again, just because we always have new people, and some of you do not maybe or want to go back and look. I've got it just about on every video, so I may as well put it on this one too. I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so now real quick, I'm just going to give a quick little review. Or first, if you're new and you are not sure how my little system works. It just something I just came up with, and because like I said, I didn't learn in a knit shop, and I got a lot of patterns, bought a lot of books, but sometimes it just didn't work. So one day I just tried this. All right, so you know how you make a swatch. Normally that's what you first learn when you go to a knit shop, is you'll make a little 4 or 5 inch swatch or something of fabric. Well, I just decided one day to make a swatch a little longer than what I needed. Now, back in the day, I made a real long swatch, like a long measure. I called it a tape. I said, well, I'll just make me a swatch tape. And I can use it for a lot of things to count stitches, because that's what I thought, I'm going to count my stitches and see. Because I tried just measuring with a tape measure, but sometimes it would just be off. Anyway, so I put a little mark here. I have you don't need one this long. Just I can do the shortcut now. You just need one longer than what you think you're gonna, so you can be able to count some stitches. So something like that, whatever. And all you're going to do is cast on a whole bunch of stitches and just knit a row, purl a row, knit a row, purl a row, until you have a nice little size. And then you can keep it. You don't have to take it out. The main thing is to use the yarn. This is why it works for any yarn and any needle. The appropriate needle for the yarn you pick. If you want number 3 yarn and you decide you're going to work with a number 7 needle, then that's what you would use. You'd cast on these stitches on your number 7, whatever, more than what you need. You'd knit some rows back and forth, all right? And you can keep this if that's the kind of yarn or the size you like. And you're just going to be counting stitches, just like I'm doing using my regular number 4 yarns, my Vannas or my Karen Simply Soft or Red Heart Soft, or what are some of the others? I can't, Heartland. I'm trying to think of other yarns. I can't think right now, but line, just, the line brands, any of that. All right, so I put a little mark here. And since I'm larger in my midriff, I just put this on the side of my body, just kind of side, and then you see I got a button for my belly button. I hope that's showing it. Let's see if it's sitting up enough. Oh yeah, I think you can see that. All right, so, and then I just make it fit nice like I want it to fit. And then I put a mark here, some kind of way. I can use another pen or whatever. And then I stop and count. After I mark it over here, then I take my time and use two hands, or sometimes I'll use a double pointed needle, and so I can actually just count. Or knit needle. Let's see if I got one. I don't know if I have one close by or not. You know, you just sit here and you'd count. And you'd go 1, and then 2, 3. And sometimes it's hard to see, so you might want to get it on a nice plain surface so that you can actually see the stitches, and take your time. And you're going to count up to the mark you made where your belly button is, whatever. So if you have a mark here, you'd count. And then I would do it again. I'd do it a couple of times just to kind of get the feel of it, to make sure I'm counting right and that my eyes didn't get all crossed trying to count the stitches. And so, for instance, say if I counted the stitches and I got 46, either 45 or 46 stitches, either one. If I got 45 stitches, then I'd write it down, or 46 stitches, I would write it down. That makes sense. Make sure I'm on camera here. Okay. All right. So then, if I have 45 or 46, whatever the number is from here to here for this side, then I automatically put it on this side. So now I can just add these two up without having to sit here and try to count all the way across, and I get 92 stitches. Or I may have 93 stitches or 94, whatever the number adds up to be. That number is a number you would take. It represents the front of the sweater right there. That number you would take and round this number up. You can't just add 4. Sometimes it works out that it looks like you added 4, but you round it up to the next number divisible by 4. Not just add 4, it has to be rounded up. So that gives the positive ease. So if this had been 91, I would have still had to round it up to 96. You know, if this number came out to be, maybe it was 45 and maybe it was only 90, well, or 91 or something, I would still wind up with 96. Does that make sense? To give me positive ease. Okay, so now I have 96 stitches for my front, and guess what? I automatically get 96 stitches for my back too. So now, for the back, 96 stitches, for my front, 96 stitches, and this is for my US number 9. And of course, the front, you're going to divide the front into two sections, the right and left. So the right will be 48, and then the left will be 48. So now I have, just from counting those stitches, I now have a complete picture of the sweater and how it's going to look and the numbers that will fit my body. And then, you know, like I say, everything has to be tweaked. You know, this one might be, after you knit this one, if this one's a little snug, we don't have to recount. Maybe we can take it up 4 stitches. Because there's a range of 4 stitches, or we can take it down if it's too loose. But at least you have an idea of what it takes, how many stitches, not so much how many inches, but how many stitches. So for me, it turns out to be, instead of 46, I need 48 stitches for one side of the front and 48 stitches for the other side. And so that makes my back, if I add both of those, 96 stitches across the whole back. Does that make sense? Now, if you are really heavier in the bust and you'd rather measure there, then you go up under the arm, put on a good bra, and then go across to the center of your cleavage or the center of your bust line. And then, of course, you do exactly the same thing. The number here, then the number here, you add it together. But then you need to round up, no matter what, round up to the next number divisible by 4. just automatically. Whatever the number you get after you add those two, then just look for the next number. Just don't add 4. What would be the next number that could be divided by the number 4 evenly? That gives you positive ease. It makes it helps us to keep your sweater symmetrical, or is that the right word? Same on both sides? Yeah, okay. It helps to make the numbers compatible so that we can add stitches, because we work from a stitch book. We're not going to get a line by line telling us, where everything goes. We're going to make our own formula and put our own design in our own sweaters. And that's how I've done it from day one. Now, I'm getting better at explaining it. And maybe those first few years, you might say, oh, okay, I'm a little confused. But now that I can explain it better, that's how simple it is. And it works out fine. And if you need to tweak it and change it, all you have to do is just go up a few stitches and come down a few stitches. But the stitches will be even number stitches, or a lot of times divisible by 4. Does that make sense? All right. So that's what I wanted to share with anyone who's new. And you think, oh, this little thing can come in handy. As you notice, I even did some ribbing at the bottom, so I could tell how things would fit in the 1x1 ribbing. I did some plain garter stitch here, because sometimes you can take the bottom of your sweater, but a lot of times you can just take this and you can if you want to know, okay, how many stitches do I need to stop on my cuff here, or how many do I need down here? If you're new, how many stitches would it take to make a hat to go around my head? Maybe I don't have a hat nearby or something, but I've got this long measuring thing. I can sit and put it around my head and actually count it in the ribbing to see how many stitches that I need. And of course, you'd want to make it ribbing. If you're going in the round, it needs to be an even number. All right, so you just make it the next even number. But does that help? Does that make sense? It's not magic. It's just, I don't know, I just call it my common sense way of figuring out, because I didn't really I knew some of this, a lot of the patterns I got, I could just tell by the numbers, or even if I did some of them, okay, I couldn't get quite the fit, because they always had strange numbers, 153 stitches. But that don't even sound right. That's just to me now. I look at somebody's, how they'd write out, how many stitches, and it'd go, 229 stitches. Well, why? It just would not compute to me 200. Why not just say 230 stitches or 232 stitches? I just could not ever get it to do right. And then when I got ready to add a design, if I wanted to add my own design, it couldn't fit because the numbers were uncompatible. They weren't compatible. Like I say, I'm not no rocket science people, but I'm a person that just has to, I just once I find something, I just work it over and over and over, and I kept working it until I just felt comfortable. And now, all right, when I came on YouTube, I just wanted to share it. Is it going to fit everybody perfect? Of course not. No pattern does. You have to tweak it here and there. But at least you have an idea how to start from scratch to make your own sweater. So, that's how easy it is. So now that's what I've covered. I want to get that all in. So now the next thing, this will be part 1. This is setting up everything. When I come back, I will be ready to, which I got to figure out, like I said, about how to get the chart. But when I come back, and let me see if this is back on, if this is lined up okay. Okay, we will be actually part 2 of Jay's, this knit along. All right, we will actually be ready to cast on because you'll have the needles, you're going to have everything. That's why I'm doing this part first, so that you can go ahead and do your numbers. You can take time now. You can experiment, practice, see what you come out with, and then we will actually be ready to cast on and start working. Of course, this is bottom up, so we will start with the 1x1 ribbing, and this is my sample. So I'm changing a few things because as I was knitting, I saw things that would be confusing, especially to someone new. So when I come back and I do start a little extra sample, then I will have made all the changes, any little change I needed along this front edge or anything else, just to make it easier for you to not only to understand and to see, but so that you will really want to not only work the sweater but finish it. All right, so let me think of anything else. So this is part 1. I'm excited. I think you're going to like working from the charts. We're going to have a lot of fun. I think we're going to have a lot of fun, and it'll just be an eye-opener for those who maybe have wanted to get into it and just didn't know how to go about it. So this is Jay, and this is the finish of part 1 of my knit-along of my sweater number 1 for 2021. I feel better already. How about you? All right, get everything ready, and I will see you back. I'll get everything typed up. I'll get the information sheet so that I'll have it. You'll have that. But we're going to be working from the chart. All right, take care, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.